As you dive deep into the borderless space of your transcendental nature, the clarity of your watchfulness begins to arise, and the imagined boundaries of separateness and illusory distinctions will dissolve. Behind our human persona, past the layers of cells, molecules, atoms, all the way down to the deep subatomic realm, there exists a non-local, unified field of conscious sentience that transcends space, time, physicality, and causality. Before the creation of the universe, there was only the one source, pure potentiality, that existed in the undivided state of wholeness or sameness. Pure awareness is awareness without differentiation. Let that sink in for a moment. Pure awareness is awareness without differentiation. It knows itself completely and fully within itself, but it knows nothing outside of itself. In this voidness, there was no growth, no experiences or distinctions, no ones and zeros, before and after, up and down, gain and loss, self and other, and so forth. It is through the dichotomy of division, starting with the creation of the first thought that split into two thoughts, that the uniqueness of life occurs. Both need to exist. What we know as life boils down to the singular universal intelligence, designed to know and experience itself through the multiplicity of thought forms. The excitement and passion to create an imagined playhouse of endless possibilities and intelligent arrangements, which are the building blocks for complex thought patterns. Your job is to bring yourself back into this dimensionless field of presence. This is your safe house, your true intrinsic nature. We must take full responsibility in dismantling our egoic fortress. For the further you as pure awareness descend into form identification, the more you will become unconscious and constrict your limitless being into a mind-made delusion based on fear, disconnectedness, limitation, unworthiness, and incompleteness. Embrace the fact that everything you see around you changes, except for the one life that perceives the phenomena of change. The reason you cannot recognize your fundamental essence as that formless I am, prior to I am this or I am that, is because your presence is obscured by the systematic thought patterns that are deeply embedded in the mind. Being spiritually anonymous in the world of names and form is a revolution of consciousness. It's important to take a stand by dropping all of your mind-made identifications and associations we have unconsciously attached to our pure presence. We are not those things that appear to make us different or separate from each other. This is just a play of Maya. In the eyes of the universe, beyond the superficial layers of appearances, we are all nameless, borderless, and timeless expressions of the one creative living source. In the space of divine presence, we hold no name, concept, or image that separates us from each other. The greater part of us lives beyond the limited parameters of our temporal human form, be it our gender, race, hereditary disposition, biological drives, and behavioral algorithms. No one is ever excluded or disconnected from this invisible, unified field that abides in and as all things. You always have the freedom to withdraw yourself from being transfixed on the objective model of reality and remain as the context of all perception. For when you identify with the busy traffic of your mind activities, continuous labeling, judging, discriminating, comparing, division and separateness will inevitably be what you see. In meditation, you move into a state of deep surrender. In this state, it helps to greatly reduce the noise of mental chatter and mind patterns by penetrating into the depth of your oceanic eternal stillness and silence. This is the untouched space of no mind. It is an act of courage, and one must understand what this means. It goes against the grain of all of your conditioning, because you haven't fully embraced the fact that all suffering comes from blindly accepting false negative belief systems that support the idea that you are not already the peace, stillness, creativity, and godliness that you seek. So merge in this now moment so deeply that the story-making voice generated by your conditioned mind falls utterly silent. Don't allow your attention to be sucked into the chaos of your endless mind projections and miss the greatest vision bestowed on you. The divine lives in each and every one of us. And when you embrace this, you are truly in the space of self-love. For love is consciousness being fully awake to itself as the true source of all creation. You must first burn away and purify all of the self-erected mental emotional barriers that stand in your heart's way. Open yourself, be receptive, dismantle all resistance. For out of your inner emptiness arises the flowering of your infinite being. Nothing should stand in your way. Nothing should take you off the pathless path. You must take the time to find your undisturbed serenity through the wisdom of inner detachment. You know, the act of clinging to a person, thought, thing, or experience will never be the true source of your joy, freedom, and peace. You always have the power to release yourself from self-imposed psychological suffering that causes you to hold on to things to give you a false sense of security, control, and identity. Do not allow your sense of worth to be based on what other people think or say about you. Do not allow the opinions of others to define you. Allow yourself to die a good death to the mind-identified state. Stay in the space of being. The greatest revolution will be the total destruction of our illusory sense of division or separateness, so that we merge back into the single unified field of consciousness. Welcome to the conscious revolution.